What parallels, if any, are there to the team's reaction after the Louisville loss this year and the loss to Michigan State last year?
Well, they're very similar because they beat the Dickens out of us. So you can figure any word you want in there, but I think we bounced back. I'm trying to remember exactly how we played. I know we were embarrassed about how we didn't step up and match their aggressive play and how physical they were and how hard they played. Here it was a little different because there was not one area of the game of basketball that looked like we had really practiced. It looked like we had done anything. I mean, we shoot 35% or something, give up 51. We were 13 or 14% from three-point line, give up 40 something. They out-rebound us 40 to 31. We have 800 turnovers. I mean, here it was every single phase of the game, whereas up at or in Portland against Michigan State, I just thought their physical play, and not dirty physical play, just physical play, they just beat us up. They just outworked us for every loose ball, every rebound, and we didn't have any answer for that at all. But the game here was, I mean, I spent last night and today, I was just watching it. I watched it for the third time. Today there's 8 minutes and 9 seconds left, and it's the saddest thing I think I've ever looked at of any team I've ever coached. I mean, we couldn't do anything. Louisville had an answer for everything. They beat us to every loose ball. They made shots. We missed shots. They guarded us. We didn't guard them. I mean, it showed me on the sidelines one time, and I looked about as befuddled as I felt after the game.
Do you see like a game this weekend kind of like as a revenge game? Does that inspire you? How do you kind of approach it?
You know, it's somebody beats me, I get a little more enthused and try to go again, but I got 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds in there. I don't know how they're going to look at it, but for me, I mean, it was an embarrassing game, and I'd like to have an opportunity to, same as playing golf. If I play poorly, I'd like to try the course again. I don't want to just leave and say, well, I can't play that course. I'd like to go back and play it again. So that's the way I look at it.
Coach, how happy are you with your team where they're at right now in ACC play? Are they getting to the point where you want them to be? Or, I mean, obviously, besides the Louisville game, you guys are undefeated in conference. So.
Well, if you just look at the record, but I don't just look at the record. I never have. I mean, I'm asking Steve all the time, what are we? If you look at the record, I saw this morning it was the ACC. Matt brought by. You know, we're third or fourth. But I mean, we just had one loss, so I guess that part is okay. But I want us to play better, and I think that we need to play better. We've done some good things in the last couple of weeks, the last 3 or 4 games, but I want us to be much more consistent on the defensive end of the floor. I want us to be much more consistent taking care of the basketball, rebounding the ball. So, but you know, it's a hard question for me to answer because I've never looked at a record and really wanted that to tell me how we were doing until the end of the season.
The three-point shooting numbers look great, but along the way, the assist numbers, the last 3 games in particular, have been really good. How much of the passing or the setting up a shooter in the right position, how much does that feed into each other?
Well, I think it's good. It's, you know, you can do away with the turnovers, but I mean, we threw the ball in the stands 3 times the other night. There was 2 guys trying to decide who he was throwing the pass to, you know, so you can't turn it over like that. But I think we're good shooters, as I've said all year long, and we've worked hard about getting the ball to the guys who can make shots, and I think we've gotten better at that. But I mean, seriously, there were 3 times we turned it over, and everybody on the bench, we didn't know who the pass was intended for. So that's a little weird, but if we can cut that down, I'd like it a lot better.
Did you know pretty quickly that you had a group maybe that was willing passers in that regard?
Yeah, I think so. It's a wonderful group of kids, and they're very unselfish. I'd like them to understand how to play and how to make the easy play a little bit better, but I thought they would be that kind of that group.
What happened at the 8:09 mark in that first Louisville game that caught your attention?
That's when I hit the button to cut it off.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had to come down here.
Okay. I was wondering why it took that long to reach
I was
over.
crying. I've been watching it for 2 hours. I'm tired of crying. And I just looked, and it was 10 minutes to 2, and I had to come and see you, Dad.
I'm glad we could help.
Yeah. I was able to escape. Gave me an excuse to stop watching the sucker.
Do you have an update on Leaky Black status of injury?
No. He's got a sprained ankle, and he didn't practice yesterday, and I haven't seen him yet today. I don't think he's going to play. I mean, he was in a boot yesterday, but I haven't seen him today. And I'll see him because we're practicing at 2:30, but I don't think there's any way in Hades he can play.
Is there a timetable? Do you have like a diagnosis about when his return or anything like
Have you ever
that?
had a sprained ankle? Seriously, I'm not being facetious. There's nobody has any idea. I've had 2 sprained ankles in my life. The doctor told me I couldn't play. 3 days later, I played the game. He got mad because my coach let me play. I didn't tell my coach. He told me not to play. But another time, 1 month to the day after I sprained my ankle, it was black and blue behind my kneecap. Nobody knows.
Let me make this easy. On Sterling and Leakey, there's no reason to keep asking for an update on them until we tell you a change in their status.
I mean, he was in the boot
Let's just
yesterday.
go.
No, I understand what you're
Didn't know if he
saying.
was going to play or not.
What's that?
I just didn't know if he was going to play or not.
I just said that. There's no way. In fact, my quote was no way in Hades.
Yeah, got it.
I mean, just going forward, there's
Yeah.
no.
But
no
really,
need
I
to
haven't
keep-
seen him today, and the last time I saw him was yesterday. He was in a boot. I haven't seen many guys run out there in a boot.
How does your rotation change without Leakey?
Well, it's shorter. You don't have as many guys. He was a guy that I could put in at the 1, the 2, and the 3. But we haven't. We practiced yesterday is the only time that we practiced without him. And I would think that can't afford 7th to be in a down part of his play. I need him to play better because there's a couple of times in the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks that I've also played Leakey at the point guard. I won't have that possibility, but I guess shorter rotation. What I mean by that is fewer bodies. But I've never been one to, and we did it here one year. Coach Guthrie's and Coach Smith and myself, and Coach Guthrie said it's time to put in so and so this time, but we made a decision before the game started when we were going to substitute guys, and I never felt comfortable with that, so I've never done that. I just sort of go by the seat of my pants as to who I'm going to put in when. But I think that if you look at it, it does. It's like missing 2 players really, because it's very seldom to have a guy that can play the 1 and then also play him at the 2 and 3. But it'll be shorter because we're not going to have him. You know what I said? No way in Hades. I don't know if I've ever missed that part or not.
With Sterling, have you been able to get anything more out of him as far as in practice of kind of building up?
He has not practiced one
Not-
second.
nothing.
Not practiced 1 second. He's doing some running now. They're working him harder in the weight room, and so you know.
Progress
he's
in
not
that regard,
practiced.
but right.
He's not practiced 1 second.
During the week off between games, was there any one area in particular that you guys kind of emphasized?
Not just one. It was about 3. I mean, the first one was turning the ball over. The second one was, again, stay in front of the basketball on the defensive end, and then trying to get back to where we were doing a much better job rebounding.
Coach, I talked to.
That was also the biggest part of that, and I think I said this, I don't know how well I said it, was just letting them rest their bodies, really, because it's a long, college basketball is a long season.
I talked to Brandon Robinson after the Virginia Tech game, and he had told me about kind of the start of this season, how difficult it was for him not playing as much as he would have thought. And he had talked about a conversation he had with you where he kind of mentioned that he's going to keep his head down and keep working as hard as he possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, going home from Christmas break, seeing his family was a big help for him too. Have you noticed, I mean, obviously he's starting to play some of his best basketball here, but what have you noticed since he's come back from that Christmas break and the way maybe he's practiced and the way he's played? And how happy are you with where he's at right now?
Well, I think he's played better, and that's also meant more minutes. His shots going in, not taking some of the bad shots that he might have taken sometimes in the past. He's grading out better defensively. I told him, I said, "What, you shouldn't worry because I keep putting you to games. That means I have confidence in you, so you got to get some confidence yourself." But B-Rob is really, he just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and he's been important to us. His play has been important to us. And one of the other games, I would have, 2 of the other games, I would have played him even more minutes than I did. But one game he banged knees with somebody, and I held him out a little bit. And then in other games where he got poked in the eye, I think. But if you take those away, he'd probably played even more minutes in those games.
Well, I got a colleague working on a story that's not related to Louisville, but just your experience as a coach. let's say you're up in 20 or 25 late in the game, about 4 minutes left. What is the thinking process you use on what point it is to empty the bench down to all your rotation players out?
Well, there's two things, depending on what number, but I'm the guy that saw us coming from 8 down with 17 seconds to play with no three-point shot. So I almost never think the game is over until it's really over. A dead man would probably think it's over before I do. But don't say anything about that either. I mean, it's tired. Can't say anything in life. But I have two things. One, I want to play some of the guys from 6 to 10 because those guys are going to be in the game in important minutes. So I want them to get some minutes. And then the walk-on guys who are thrilled to be part of the program, and I'm thrilled for them to be part of the program. I want to give them a couple of minutes, but I'm not going to, let's put it was comparing you and Leakey. I may love you, but I'm not going to give you enough minutes if I can give it to Leakey because he's going to be more. I'm going to give you some time. And usually it's just the last couple of minutes that I go to those times because the other guys are going to be in the games and be extremely important for us. So now if it's a 50-point game, it's going to be more than a couple of minutes. But I think that I've told our guys up through 10 or 11 that you're going to be in the game at important times for us. So I feel like I do try to give them some more minutes maybe than some other guys do. But at the same time, those last guys, the walk-on guys, I'll probably give them more minutes than a lot of other people do as well. So it's just trying to help their development for the guys that I'm going to need.
Is there a threshold, like on the clock, you'd say, oh, a minute left is when I do it, or you don't have a hard and fast rule, you just do it as you go?
Last couple of minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that. But again, I think from, obviously use yours, 6 minutes, from 6 minutes down to 2 minutes, if that's minutes that could help Leakey, that's going to be more important than putting you in the game. And because I think that Leakey's going to have to play and will play in some big time, except for this weekend, in big time games for us.
Coach, did you ever get a chance to see Julius Peppers play basketball in person?
Mm-hmm. At the Peach Jam, which is my favorite tournament in the summertime, and watching this guy, and somebody said, hey, he's going to Carolina. They offered him a scholarship. And I said, what? I said, he's good, but gracious sakes, I'm not so sure he's that good. And I said, yeah, he's really good, but golly, he's a power forward at 6'5", 6'6". And then I found out they offered him a scholarship in football. And I said, well, he's really good for a football player. And then when he started playing here, of course, I watched the Carolina games, and I thought he was magnificent. And I thought he was fantastic for the program, fantastic part of the team, and helped him win games. But that first time I saw him, I was really surprised. They said Carolina offered him a scholarship. Because Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge and I would talk very frankly all the time. And so I was surprised. And then when they told me they had been offering him a football scholarship, I said, well, then he must really be a stud. And I love watching him play. He was a little bit more terrorizing as a defensive end, but I'd hate to see Sucker coming down the lane with me being the only thing between him and the basket. I'd go on the concession stand. Quickly.
What besides just athleticism was he able to play football and basketball? Not all guys that size are.
I think he had great feet. I mean, he could slide his feet and stay in front of a basketball player. He moves his feet and gets around the offensive lineman. I thought he had great hands and strength with his hands. It's hard for people to keep him out of the backfield in the football, but in basketball, if he's got his hands on the ball, it was more or less his. And the competitiveness, I mean, when I'm thinking, Steve, you may have to help me out, I think it was the 100-year celebration that he wanted to play in the basketball game. And I said, Julius, I cannot let you play. I mean, the Panthers have put out a contract on me. And he said, just let me play a few minutes. I said, no. I said, but I tell you what. So we introduced him like he was going to go in the game, and then I pulled him out so at least the fans would get a chance to cheer for him. But I said, I cannot put you in this game, or I can't let you go in this game.
I think he did left. I think he went through the left line.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he said, Coach, now I got to play something. I don't know, big fella. I don't want the Panthers to be that mad at me, but I think that was when it was the 100
2010 it was, definitely.
Yeah.
Anybody else for Coach?
Right. Hubert Davis, when he was filling in for you, was asked a question about a fun fact he learned about you. He said you put salt in your orange juice. Is that?
This is about as low as any press conference
I'm
I've
just curious.
We're talking questions about the radio show.
Second time today?
That's right. You ever tried it?
No.
Should.
Where did that start? Is that thing just growing up and
I was
just?
about 5 or 6 years old, and I liked salt. My dad had a drink and had the orange juice. He put it in his. So he might have had something else in his. I was 5 or 6 years old, but he put it in mine, and I've been doing it ever since. But when I eat oranges, I'll get an orange and I'll slice it up, and I'll put salt just on the orange slices. But I put salt on watermelon.
I've done that.
And I put salt on tomatoes and steak, and I eat a lot of salt.
I'll try it.
Part of your diet.
You guys try it. Have a little bit.
I always like it when we end a press conference like this.